Hey guys, it's Danny at Brazala Custom Lures. Tournament week, January 11th, and not going to be real eventful, but let's go ahead and get into last week's shout out for big bag of the week. And that was at the Anvil Jaw New Year's Day tournament. Spencer Sheffield and Chris came in with a 1914 bag, winning that tournament. So kudos to you guys. We do have runner up though, which was also on Lake Hamilton for the Lake Hamilton Winter Series, which they fished on Saturday this week and not Sunday because of all the weather, the rain and stuff that we're going to have on Sunday. And that was Cannon and Carson that came in with a 1762. So kudos to you guys. Both those teams are phenomenal fishermen. And if you don't know who they are, you need to know who they are because they're probably going to take your money. Anyway, let's get into this week. Today is January 8th. And Saturday, January 11th, we had three tournaments on the schedule. Anvil Jaw going out of the hatchery over at Hamilton has been canceled due to all of the snow that we've got coming in. 3 to 10 inches. The models keep changing, whatever. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be cold. Roads are going to be crummy. So that tournament has been moved out to July 26th. It will be on the Arkansas River. Not sure which pool. Think I know, but not sure just yet. The next one is the Metro Club tournament that was going to be on DeGray at the Spillway. Canceled. That tournament was an extra derby that they threw in on top of their normal schedule as a just in case. It was nice. Wasn't no weather. They were going to fish that one. So there will be no reschedule on that. ABA was also going out of the Spillway at DeGray. And I'm not sure on reschedule on that one, but all three of those tournaments have been canceled. So no tournaments that we know about going on this weekend. Hopefully not in the state of Arkansas because it's probably going to be pretty gnarly. The river flow over here, it's flowing. Nothing too crazy. Anything from 17 to 21,000 with the exception of Dardanelle, which is a very large pool. They're pulling 40,000. All of the lakes are right at normal pool with 3 exceptions. Obviously, Hamilton is on the drawdown for 3 foot. Tip for you guys on that one, if you're running a Humminbird, set your graph at a -5. I don't know, my contour lines match up really well. We've been out there quite a bit, and we'll get into that. We're going to talk about some baits that have been working out there. And then the other one is Nimrod, which is somewhere between 10 and 11 foot high, and Greason, which as of yesterday was 2.3 low. Everything else is right there at the normal pool within a ½ foot of being at full pool. So let's go ahead and start talking about what's been working. And the A-Rig. No doubt about it, the A-Rig is about to be a massive player. It always is when it's cold out, but we're about to tell you how we've been using it. We've been using the regular Hog Farmer A-Rigs. I've been using the mini. Tim's been using the regular. We're using 1/8 ounce heads with anything from a 3-inch to 3.8-inch Kitech on there. And we're changing out the colors. It's typically something white or Tennessee shad related, depending on the clarity of the water. I like to put one weird oddball on there. So typically I run Tennessee shad with one of them being that solid white, just to give it a little something else. How have we been using it? We are actually targeting fish in 30 to 40 foot of water. They're not in that, they're on the bottom. We're throwing out the A-Rig, we're finding the fish, throwing the A-Rig out, and keeping it just off the bottom and floating it over all of the structure. When it goes by those fish, they'll come up and they'll either follow it and eat it, or they just rock it up off the bottom and nail it. That has been consistently producing anything from 11 to 14 pound bag for us. And we've been taking off every Friday going out there, and we go out there and we go into a few certain areas and we're using it, we're catching that bag, and then we start exploring for other fish to be biting. What else has been working? Crankbaits and chatterbaits have also been working out on when we've had several sunny days. Those fish will move up on that wood cover and you can catch them up there running around, beating the banks a little bit. If you know where there's a little bit of stubble, a little shallow brush pile or something like that, it's usually holding at least one fish. Sometimes there's a few more on there, but you can typically catch one fish off of there. The other bait that has been working out there is the jig. I've been using the 1/2 ounce quite a bit. Throwing that jig around that same brush cover or in some of the deeper brush piles has been producing some fish. There's, every now and then you'll catch one that's an impressive fish off of there. But typically it's, that 2.5 to 3 pound fish that we've been catching off there. Another place that we've been catching them is on boat docks with wood pylons on them. And the ones that have been working the best for us is the ones that are close to a channel swing, where the end of that dock is out in 6 to 15 foot of water. Just make sure and pitch a little bit past that dock a little bit, so that way that bait falls right on the bottom. Like I said, the 1/2 ounce has been the one that I've been using out there on those. Make sure and put your scent or your bait pop on there to give it that little bit of extra, smell to it. Just a simple trailer like a chunk or something like that. Nothing too crazy. This colder weather, those fish, those trailers that have a lot of flappy crawls on it, they don't typically work really well. So, chunk style or double tail grub trailers are actually working. The football jig is working as well. I just haven't been exploring around with it on points and stuff like that. What I've been targeting the most, because I'm trying to educate myself more on it, is pinging a minnow forward-facing sonar. We've had a multitude of different sizes on the deck of the boat. So the 1/4 and 3/8 ounce, when we're out in that 35 and 45 foot of water range, we're finding fish that are higher up in the water column. So that's what we're throwing those, that lighter weight on those. Using 4.5 inch sized bait, and it's the color. We've been swapping colors. You swap them out through the day, and you may trigger one into bite, they might not bite, whatever. So you just really got to play with it. The 2 colors that I've really been using has been like a Tennessee shad or a sight flash color. I've been using those 2 colors pretty consistently. Your Tennessee shad's got that nice little laminate to it as well. So anything from the Hog Farmer Spunk Shad or Stroll Shad, the Driftwood Custom, Winged Fluke, freeloaders, all that type of stuff. It's all working. Now, you're targeting those deeper fish. That's where the big ones are hanging out. Now, you will find them around brush, so you can ping a minnow around brush, and we are catching some around those. But we're catching those ones that are out roaming around or just sitting on the bottom. Those fish need to be targeted with 1/2, 5/8, and 3/4, depending on how they're moving. The bigger baits are definitely, obviously, getting a bigger bite because so many people are throwing the 3.5 to 4.5 inch baits. So we're moving up to the 5, 6, and 7 inch baits out there that we're throwing around. So the TKO head is the one that I've mainly been throwing. I have been throwing the Queen Rollin' Strollin' head, and then a regular tungsten as well, just trying to mix it up a little bit. The 1/2 ounce has been pretty much the staple that we're using. It gets the bait down there fairly fast, and you can work and find those stationary fish that are in that really deep. But if you need to catch them and they are moving, and believe it or not, even at this time of year, they move really, really, really fast when they're chasing that bait. You're going to need that 5/8 and 3/4 ounce to rocket those baits down there to them and start working them over them really fast. They're hunting, so you can work that bait really fast and get a reaction bite out of them. Make sure, guys, use your thump gel, your bait pop, and stuff like that. It's the scent. It's the scent on the bait that triggers that bite, that finishes that bite off on those. It's a really creamy gel. You put it on there. You can put it in the hook slots on these baits and just cake it up in there, and that will usually finish that bite off on there. So anything in the the bigger baits on these, the Wing Flukes to help it roll, the Player Hover Shad, which is new. It's got wings on it like a Sakamata shad. If you guys have sack shads, we've been using those, but you're going to have to mix it up a little bit just to see what those fish are biting. Over on this point, they're probably biting sight flash, and then you go over this point, they're biting all Tennessee shad or something with purple or tan in it. So you just got to kind of play with it a little bit. You're going to go through a lot of baits, obviously. So we do have 3 tournaments lined up for January 18th. We will update you guys on those next week. We won't have a big bag shout out of the week, obviously, because there's no tournaments this weekend. Anyway, y'all have a safe weekend. Be safe out there. If you do get on the water, bundle up, stay warm, and be smart about where you're fishing, and let somebody know where you are and what ramp you took off of, just in case something happens out there. The wintertime is a bad time of year for something to go wrong. And, you know, hey, if it's going to go wrong, everything's going to go wrong. So just be smart, be safe. And, yep, y'all stay warm, and we'll catch you next week.